Hey everyone, my name is Jeremy, and I'm going to update you on my progress with the Bellevue University Master of Science in Industrial Organizational Psychology program. I am in my second to last class. The last video that I did was my capstone or my practicum. Yes, my practicum class. So it was around identifying a gap in literature and being able to take the literature that you read in order to find the gap and present it in a way that people understand and would be intrigued if you were to present that to an organization. The very next class after that was Statistics 2, which, by the way, was actually not that bad. The thing that made Statistics 2 easier, in my opinion, was the fact that it was done via software and the fact that there was a book to guide. Although some of the material in the course didn't reflect the book because the course material had not updated as the book has been updated, if that makes sense. So there were some instances where the book would say to do something, but the instructions would say something totally different. And then sometimes because of the software being updated, the book didn't make sense or the instructions didn't make sense. But luckily the professor was very engaged and they moved the course along, so it wasn't difficult. I personally would recommend buying the physical book and not the digital book because highlighting was important. And then also, this is what edition is this? 5th edition? Yeah, the 5th edition. Yep. So I would recommend buying the hard copy because you can highlight. And in my experience or in listening to some of my peers, they had difficulties with the digital copy. I think it was just that either it was hard to look at things or there were just difficulties. I'll just leave it at that. So even though the book is more expensive, at least you have that to reference. The way that I got through the class was by watching the videos and then going through skimming the chapters and then highlighting the definitions and then playing with the software and then actually doing the assignment. If you are confused about the assignment, ask for help. But typically, if you follow the steps that are in the book, the most recent book, I should say, and your numbers are slightly off, then you're fine. It's just making sure that your APA formatting is right, making sure that you really can articulate the analysis that's being done, and making sure that, if I didn't say it, your numbers are right. So the class wasn't that bad. How could it help you in real world settings? Well, it could help you to identify if there are certain variables within a situation that are attributing to a certain outcome. So for example, if I was in talent acquisition and I needed to hire a bunch of project managers, well, if the project manager is what I want, then there are certain variables that make up a project management. For example, their knowledge, skills, and abilities or other things. And maybe I might want to see, do project managers with bachelor's degrees give a more favorable outcome, or do project managers with at least 5 years have a more favorable outcome? Do male or female or non-binary project managers have a more favorable outcome? And maybe cluster some of those variables together to see how can I be more strategic with my job description, so that way I can hire the right project managers based on what I need in my organization. So it was very interesting. Is it something that I would do on a regular basis? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it was interesting. And I would say the more that you do the steps, it makes sense. So the further I got into the class, the more that I started to realize, okay, now I'm starting to really understand what's going on because I kept doing everything. Check in with your peers. People have questions. Some people have answers. This class I thought was going to be a little bit more difficult for me, but it wasn't. I actually ended up turning in a lot of my assignments early so that way I could take a break during winter break, which was so needed. The class that I'm in now is my practicum class, which is called Applied Methods. So I'm in week one so far. So I have 5 weeks left, and then I have the other part of the capstone, which will be, I believe, the data collection. So this, I believe, is focused on creating the surveys based on research and what you did in your practicum course. And then the next course will be about collecting it and then turning it into something. I don't know that I would go through the process of having my research published. I think it'd be interesting to go through the process if it's something that I intend to do later on, maybe at the doctoral level, but I think my brain is kind of fried right now, so I'm going to give it a rest. So if you are interested in the Bellevue University Master of Science in Industrial Organizational Psychology program, would I recommend it? Yes. I would give you context that it is a motivating, if that's the right way to say it, program. So you have to study, you have to do your research, you really, really have to dig in, and it's a lot of information. I think that I get more from doing the homework assignments and doing research than the material that's presented from the program, if that makes sense. Which to me, I guess if you're trying to be a scholar practitioner portion of it, right? But yeah, I would say that I got more out of doing the assignments, doing or gathering information from more up-to-date articles or more up-to-date resources than what's being presented in the class. The engagement of the professor does make a difference, and I feel like I've grown a lot because of the program. Would I consider other programs based on the experience that I know? I don't know, because I'm more inclined to say no, because the fact that the program is set up in a way that allows you some wiggle room to make the assignment your own makes it more realistic versus being in a very rigid program that wants you to do things a certain way. I think that would set you up for failure, because the real world is not everything is crystal clear. So I hope that made sense. I'd rather go with a program that gives you structure and wiggle room like this program is in, and maybe some things aren't working 100% the way that you would expect them to, because again, that's more transferable to real world application. I'm so ready to be done. My brain is done. So 11 weeks left. One course I'm currently in, then my last course. I have a break in between these two classes, which I'll be done in April, then graduation in June, which will be my third time graduating from Bellevue University. And I will be on somebody's beach, on somebody's airplane, not looking at a book for school. So hope that this helps you. Have a great day.